We are told to hurry. Everywhere the world insists faster is better. Fast food, fast fashion, fast answers, fast results. Our worth is measured in productivity, our identity, and how much we can accomplish before the day ends. But beneath the noise, a quiet rebellion is rising. It is called slow living. And it is not laziness, it is resistance. Slow living is not about moving in slow motion, nor about abandoning ambition. It is about choosing intention over speed, meaning over motion, presence over performance. It is about remembering that life was never meant to be a race. For years, hustle culture dominated our lives. Work harder, grind longer, sacrifice rest. We glorified exhaustion as proof of value. We called busyness success. But eventually we began to notice we were always busy and rarely alive. Slow living is the response. It is the refusal to confuse busyness with life. It is the decision to step off the treadmill and rediscover the ground beneath our feet. Imagine cooking from scratch, not as a chore, but as ritual. Chopping vegetables slowly, letting aromas fill the room, tasting food not just for fuel, but for joy. Imagine simplifying your home, removing the excess, so that what remains is what you actually cherish. Every object carries a story. Every space holds breathing room. Imagine waking without the immediate grasp for your phone. Instead, pausing by the window, watching the light unfold, remembering that the day is not something to conquer, but something to receive. This is slow living. And in a culture addicted to acceleration, it is a form of rebellion. Because when you slow down, you resist the system that profits from your distraction. You resist the belief that worth is earned only through productivity. You resist the illusion that speed guarantees meaning. Slowness is radical because it creates space for presence. And presence is what our culture fears most, because a present person cannot be easily manipulated, cannot be endlessly consumed, cannot be convinced that their life is lacking. But let's be honest, slow living is not always comfortable. At first, silence feels strange, empty time feels wasteful, cooking instead of ordering in feels inconvenient. We are so conditioned to rush that rest feels like guilt. But guilt is not truth, it is conditioning. And slow living is how we unlearn it. We are not built to sprint through life. Our bodies carry rhythms. Inhale and exhale, wake and sleep, seasons of effort and seasons of rest. When we live only in acceleration, we break this rhythm. Slow living restores it. Some people imagine slow living as retreating to the countryside, abandoning modern life altogether. But it can be practiced anywhere. In the middle of a city, you can choose to walk instead of rush. You can choose to eat with attention. You can choose to notice the faces you pass. Slow living is not about location, it is about orientation. It asks, what is essential? What is unnecessary? What would my life feel like if I stopped rushing past it? And the answers are often surprising. When we slow down, we discover we need less than we thought. Less stuff, less noise, less constant achievement, and in needing less, we feel more free. This freedom is not glamorous, it doesn't photograph well, it cannot be reduced to a catchy slogan, but it is real. It is the freedom of being enough in the moment you are in. Of course, slow living doesn't mean abandoning responsibility. We still work, we still strive, but we do so with awareness, refusing to let the pace of culture dictate the pace of our souls. There is a quote, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The river does not rush, yet it carves canyons. The tree does not sprint, yet it grows toward the sky." Why do we believe we must race to matter? Slow living invites us to trust the natural pace of life. It reminds us that depth requires time, that joy requires space, that meaning requires presence. So how do we begin? We begin small. Cook one meal slowly this week. Remove one object from your space that does not serve you. Walk without headphones. Eat without screens. Breathe before you answer. These small acts accumulate, rewriting the rhythm of your life. And over time, something shifts. The days no longer blur together. The mind no longer races as much. The heart no longer feels starved. You realize that life was never waiting in the rush. It was always waiting in the pause. Slow living is not nostalgia. It is not romanticizing the past. It is remembering what was never meant to be forgotten, that we are human beings, not human doings, that our souls crave depth, not just speed, that our worth is not measured in urgency, but in presence. To slow down in 2025 is not easy. It goes against the tide. It will make you seem strange, perhaps even irresponsible, to a culture that praises acceleration. But perhaps strangeness is the point, because only in resisting can we reclaim what matters. The world will continue to shout, hurry, achieve, consume, but you can choose another voice. The voice that whispers, pause, breathe, notice. The voice that reminds you, you are not behind, you are here. And here is where life is, always was, always will be. Slow living is not retreat, it is return. Return to the essential. Return to presence. Return to the simple, sacred rhythm of being alive. And in a culture that runs endlessly toward nowhere, to live slowly is the quietest, bravest form of resistance.